Frick. Monkeys. Are you guys on my side or are you gonna hit me, bro? What is he doing? Bro, he took my stuff.
Wildlife down here is very grabby.
He took my crap. You frick, I'll knife you in the face. I swear you come back into my face. I swear. Okay. Sent a message, had to. Yo, he literally grabbed my scanner. Is that allowed? Hey neighborhood, welcome to our second review on the channel. We are reviewing Subnautica Below Zero. We just finished up the game with a total of 40 hours. I think in the first game we had about 60. This game really was fantastic. We just talked in the neighborhood, talked about the things that we liked and we didn't like. We really believe that the first game really set this tone for a franchise that was really awesome, set this universe, this world for us to get lost in. And the second one delivers more of that. The main things that we really enjoyed about the first game is it's just the more direct story. The narrative in and of itself is more focused. While the first one does have a freedom of kind of like this survival game that lets you kind of figure yourself out, this one has a much more direct storyline in the sense of Robin and her sister and finding the architect and all the aliens and stuff, which ultimately brings us to a place at the ending, which was really cool. An incredible ending that, again, we wish we could have just a little bit more, but the ending was great. The other things that we loved about this game is the way it added onto the building and it added onto the different quality of life features that you have in the game. There's more things to build. All of the things from the first game are still present, but there's just more. There's bigger rooms. My favorite was the large room instead of the multi-purpose rooms that you're placing all over the place. We had this massive large room that you could stack, and then you could build containment centers within them that just made building feel so much more fun. And on top of that, the quality of life improvements were things like tagging specific builds, so you didn't have to jump through your menus all the time, and finding different things throughout the world itself became a lot easier because you could kind of line up your to-do list and bang it out and build these massive structures that felt really awesome. This game ultimately felt like a great improvement off of that original Subnautica. The game, the engine feels the same. It looks the same. I think even the HUD itself is the exact same as the first game. It didn't necessarily feel like a second, like Subnautica 2. It felt like a massive DLC from the original Subnautica. And when thinking about it as a massive DLC, I think this game, it blows you out of the water, just like the first one, because of its just uniqueness. The universe that the original one set, this whole underwater world, felt really amazing. And as you dive back into the second one, it feels just as amazing. There are some new above water areas in this game. You're on this Arctic map where there's a lot of snow and you have to deal with things like how cold you get and keeping yourself warm. I think the above ground areas were a nice risk that they take. They were trying to go into a new direction of adding some unique biomes above water, which I think was a cool idea. As I think about it and what makes Subnautica so great, it's the underwater exploration and the way that it feels when you're flying around peacefully through the water, and next thing you know, there's a massive monster. Being above ground just didn't feel quite as extravagant. Even as a few people in the neighborhood said, it didn't even feel as polished. Some of the above ground areas were kind of janky. That took away a little bit from the feeling of diversity that I think the first one had. Now, that's not to say that the above ground areas were bad. They were enjoyable, but it just wasn't quite as, again, extravagant. And with that said, because we have more increased above water biomes, our underwater biomes, I think, suffered in their vastness as well. We didn't get to see as many underwater biomes. There was certain biomes that stretched for maybe too long, that felt a little too plain, and we never got to extend so far under the water anymore. I think the depths in this game, the max we ever went to was about 1,000, whereas in the first one it felt like you were spending so much time, it was so scary to go into the depths, where this one didn't quite have that same feeling. Again, that's not to say that we didn't enjoy this game in the neighborhood. It really was great in many ways. The quality of life improvements, the new building improvements really made this game, we spent more time building in this game, I think, than the first one, and we had way more fun with it. The interior designs that you could do was just absolutely fantastic. With the story, I loved the approach of the story. I liked how it gave us more of a specific package of narrative instead of the first one that allowed you to kind of figure it out for yourself. That's kind of give and take, though. There's positives and negatives with both approaches. But again, this one brought us to a place of meeting a cool entity maybe we should say, to not spoil anything, that really brought some meat and potatoes to the story that the first one didn't have, to help us really understand what was going on in this planet and what the virus from the first game really affected. That focused story brought us in the end to a place of a fine finish where you join and take off into space, kind of like the first one, but in a much cooler way. And I really enjoyed that about the ending, and that was a real positive note to finish the game on. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the vehicles. In this game, instead of giving you multiple vehicles like the Cyclops and the Sea Moth and the Prawn, this one focused more on this sea truck that you add modules to. I thought this was a really, really awesome idea, and to some extent, I think they nailed it. It just didn't feel as cool as the Cyclops, though. The Cyclops in the first game was this massive ship that you could take all over the place, and even just piloting that ship made you kind of nervous as you're going around and finding all these Leviathans and trying to work your way into areas, you know, jumping out of the cockpit to go run something else and put a fire out here, and venturing down, running your Sea Moth or your Prawn out of that was such a great experience. The truck in this game, the sea truck rather, had these cool modules that you would connect, so you could have a big long sea truck, or you could just run the sea truck itself. That felt really, really cool, but it just didn't feel as fun, as vast as the first one. And that again is in line with a lot of what we saw throughout the game, in the sense of it really delivered on what the first game did. It really executed on what the first game did, but it just didn't execute enough. It didn't make itself unique enough. It could have used a little bit more time maybe to expand the map and to make it feel like you're lost at sea again. You quickly pick up on where you are and how to get to places. Once you pick up a couple proper upgrades to your sea truck, there's no more fear, because you can just zap whatever enemy shows up against you. There's no more fear because you can just zap whatever enemy shows up against you, and you're not really lost anymore at sea. You're more just owning the sea and dominating everything that comes in front of you. So our final thoughts on Subnautica Below Zero. Who is this game for, and should you play it? Well, this game is a fantastic addition to the first Subnautica. It really feels like a massive DLC. So if you're thinking about playing Subnautica Below Zero, my first question would be, have you played the first one? Because this game is best consumed once you play that first one, and that first one really has that unique aura to it where you're jumping into a world and going, what is going on here? And it is incredibly unique. And Subnautica Below Zero is great consumed after that. And if the answer is no, go play that one first. It's $30. It's entirely worth $30. I mean, I think the first one itself is worth $60, but it's only 30 bucks. So go play the first one. Really take it in on that first one. Enjoy that experience. And if you're like, man, I want more building, I want more quality of life, I want more of this style, and maybe a little bit more a narrow narrative, then Subnautica Below Zero is going to be a fantastic experience for you. You're going to love it, and I think you're going to have a good time. Neighbors, thank you so much for joining us on a review of Subnautica Below Zero. Definitely let us know in the comment section below, or hop on our Discord, or come join us on Twitch. Let us know how you like the reviews. This one we did live, but we did a pre-recorded one for Resident Evil 8. So check out Resident Evil 8's review, kind of compare the two, and let us know what you think, the styles at which we could do reviews. We're always open to new ideas. We're always trying to do new things and add good content for the neighborhood for us all to enjoy. So thank you for being with us. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.